Hello everyone, this is Crode giving you a shoutcast between Evil Genius's Idra versus sixjax. Sixjax spawning as the red Terran player on the south side of the map here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. Meanwhile, Idra spawning on the north side of the map as the blue Zerg. So this is going to be Zerg versus Terran here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. Hopefully it is a good matchup. Sixjax, I actually don't know that much about him. I found this game and I saw Idra's name. I'm like, you know what, I haven't cast an Idra game in a while. Let me go ahead and cast one of his games. Idra, famous for raging, but I guess he's just a very emotional person. In terms of StarCraft 2, he really cares about the game, he really loves the game, and he wants to let everyone know what he thinks about the current matchups and the current gameplay situation. So sixjax just currently mining, setting up a supply depot. We can see Idra has already gotten up that Overlord, what I believe to be a 9 Overlord, and now trying to get a very strong economy going. Now Idra, his style of play normally is very conservative. He tries to build a very strong economy and then simply out macro his opponent early on, or actually in the mid game, and let that carry over into the late game. We'll see if he continues to play that style or if he decides to try to change it up. Sixjax, on the other hand, going for a standard 13 refinery. And with that 13 refinery, he should be able to get a tech lab, go for factories, and we'll see what exactly sixjax will try to do. There's that early hatchery that I was talking about. Idra expanding early, trying to get a very strong macro style of play, getting a strong economy. If he needs to, or he should most likely get a spawning pool, not an extractor first, as you don't want to try to go for early gas when you have an early hatchery. If you do, you will quickly find yourself behind in minerals. A drone now making its way out and trying to see where exactly it can go down. Here it is, that drone now making its way south across the map, but SCV is now coming up the ramp as well. Idra going to take a look inside the base of sixjax and pretty much notice that there's not much here. It doesn't look like there's a tech lab. He may be going for an early factory, and an early factory would allow him to get perhaps some Hellions, and those Hellions would be able to run around inside the Xel'Naga Caverns pretty effectively. Spawning pool nearing completion. Extractor is finally coming into play here. SCV just still wandering around, and there is that factory that I was talking about just moments ago, as this drone now grows up to be an extractor. We'll see if Idra continues to cancel that location there, as it is always very annoying for a Terran player to try to clear off this extractor. It takes about 3 Marines in order to be able to deal enough damage to an extractor in order to destroy it, rather than its regeneration rate. We can also see a reactor now being placed down, so that reactor is a little bit later than I would have expected. You can see that he has a large amount of gas, 50 gas. He could have gotten that reactor much sooner, and that would have allowed him to double train Hellions out of that one factory. So we'll see if he tries to train up a Hellion first, or if he's just going to lift up that barracks and do a swap. There's that one Hellion first, as that extractor was not cancelled by Idra, so only delaying the gas just by a little bit. Back over here in the base of Idra, or in the natural expansion of Idra, I don't see a queen yet. So currently no queens at the natural expansion. There is a queen at the main base getting some gas as well, and I don't see anything else too revealing about the strategy. Sixjax deciding to respond with another low ground early expansion after Idra expands. So at 5 minutes into the game, sixjax also establishing his own expansion compared to Idra, who is now getting some drones over here. Taking a look at the harvester count, 21 to 21, and it's going to continue to be about even in terms of harvester count until Idra gets another queen at this low ground expansion, allowing him to train up 6 additional larvae at a time. Production wise, roaches now being trained, so Idra opting to go for roaches with a decent range, a range of 4, moves very slowly off of creep though, but they take essentially almost no damage from those Hellions. Only, I believe, what, 5 or 7 damage per attack, and 7 damage per attack on a very slow attack rating Hellion. Those Hellions now going to try to come in. Perhaps they'll be able to torch, yeah, going after the one low hit point drone, and then back it goes again. Bunkers now being placed down by sixjax. Sixjax opting to now bunker up, getting a strong defense, and that should be pretty effective. Back over here, Hellions continuing to deal a lot of damage. Will that roach be able to finish off both of them? It looks like it will be able to finish off one. There is still one Hellion wandering around on the inside, able to run away even though the roach is on creep. The second roach doesn't seem to care about his drone brothers at all. 4 roaches now over here. There is 1 marauder. The marauder does not have concussive shell though, so those roaches are going to be able to snipe down 1 SCV very, very easily and continue to move around. You can see that there is that 1 marauder with that range of 6, and now going to try to go after it, unable to do so as that marauder outranges that roach, and now the roach is deciding to back off. 1 overlord on the high ground here is able to gain sight inside sixjax's base, but there's not much to see. Sixjax being very smart and pulling all of his production buildings over here in between his natural expansion and his main base, and this is a really smart play coming in from Sixjax, making it so that if Idra wants to actually do any sort of scouting, he is going to have to sacrifice an overlord in order to do so. That's also a very smart move by a Terran player against Protoss. Most of the time observers try not to come into this area here, and then you can place an observer down, which protects your tech and in your production buildings, and also protects your mineral paths as well. Back over here, the Hellions now will be repaired by two SCVs, and those Hellions have dealt a fair amount of economic damage. No, not those 2 Hellions. The 2 Hellions that were destroyed earlier. Baneling's Nest now being morphed into play. We are now at tier 2. I don't see any Hydralisk Den yet, so it is not going to be Roach Hydra or Mutalisk for at least a little bit of time, as both players just continue into the middle portion of this game. An engineering bay now being placed on the back door of Xel'Naga Caverns, making sure that the Zerglings are not able to run by, or roaches as well. More roaches still being trained. Glial reconstitution, allowing those roaches to move much more quickly off of creep. Roaches move very, very slowly off of creep, and those Hellions with that range of 5 able to get some damage onto that roach, but the roaches also regenerate so quickly, and with that base 1 armor is able to absorb so much roaches. And now Marauders coming in, and Sixjax playing a very, very dangerous game using those concussive shells, has not used a stim pack yet, and now both sides are battling out. Zerglings are going to try to come in and swarm as well. Zerglings unable to get behind those Hellions to try to stop them from retreating, and now there are Banelings just trying to come into play, and now just sacrificing themselves into a group of Marauders. The amount of damage was high, but they are not light units, so those Marauders were able to fight back, and now what perhaps Idra was hoping that he had Mutalisk at this time, as this Hellion Marauder army not attack air roaches trying to finish off that last Marauder. It is now down, and now those 6 roaches being forced to flee from 4. I'm sorry, those 6 Hellions now down to 5, down to 4, forced to flee from a couple of those roaches. More roaches now coming in to gank that last Marauder, and down it goes. So the Hellions now continuing to just drive off into the sunset, making sure to live and fight another day. There are a couple Marauders over here. 1 Marauder making its way out a little bit too far, almost exposing itself to those roaches, and those roaches would have been glad to spit some acid on that armor of the Marauder. Both sides, army-wise, about even. Sixjax a little bit ahead, about a 50% larger army than his opponent, but you know that Idra, with his multiple hatcheries, should be able to macro up a very, very decent sized army. Now those Hellions, which are not repaired, coming around the backside looking to deal more damage to Idra, as Idra is now establishing this hatchery over here, and this is going to completely catch Idra off guard. Idra may lose a lot of drones in this engagement here. 2 drones already down, 4 more drones now down. Roaches finally coming over, and now these Hellions will be able to drive away once again. Idra losing a couple key drones in this fight. Harvester count, Idra now behind 31 drones compared to 46. This is looking really bad for Idra at this stage, as Sixjax, he just continues to macro up a larger army. He doesn't need to really worry about anything too much, but there is a decent number of roaches now on the move. So the roaches now pushing in. Marauders without any without a starport yet, it will mean that he is not going to be able to use that much stim pack effectively. Roaches now once again trying to chase down that Hellion, however able to escape. Hellions just driving away. Zerglings getting off a couple quick pokes over here, as Banelings. Banelings now trying to roll away from this group over here. Roaches now coming in, and the Banelings may have sacrificed themselves against those Hellions. Hellions take a lot of damage from Banelings, and now a lot of splash damage here. So Roaches now in chase against those Marauders. Marauders trying to turn around in time. They do have that stim pack movement speed buff. And now Idra backing off, doesn't want to venture too far inside that base just quite yet. Idra now establishing, or I guess trying to repower drone his way. This hatchery has been completed by Idra, getting another queen over here. And it will be 3 base play with 1 gold versus 2. But the Hellions looking to deal even more damage. Queen's now trying to come in, and the Zerglings now trying to swarm in as well. The Zerglings going to be able to perhaps get a surround on some of those Hellions, and those Hellions are taking a fair amount of damage, now trying to run around. Not going to be able to get any damage onto any of those drones though, as the Hellions now going to perhaps try to come in. Oh, taking down a lot of Zerglings and able to make their way through. Are they going to be able to get more drone kills? More drone kills, and now Idra just losing so many drones repeatedly. Now being forced to train up 8 drones as he's now down to 39. So 39 harvesters compared to 55. That is definitely not looking good at all. Sixjax now transitioning into Thor play. Thor's now being trained in addition to siege tanks, and now he will be able to go very heavy mech, getting an additional factory and perhaps trying to train up some Marines. Hellions are going to look to deal some more damage, and I'm surprised that Sixjax has not invested anything at all into the Blue Flame Infernal Pre-Igniter research. With so many minerals spent on Hellions, those Hellions would be much more effective against Zerglings and drones if they had that level 1 or that Infernal Pre-Igniter research upgrade. That I'm still a little bit worried about that, but Sixjax still in a very nice dominant position right now. As long as he's able to continue to ride this out, he should have essentially no problem. He is mining out at 700 minerals more a minute, and now establishing a new command center. These destructible rocks have yet to be destroyed, as the Hellions perhaps going to go around that far side once again. Hellions could try to come along this backside here, but there are some roaches and 1 Spire in play. The Spire is finally in play, and now 11 Mutalisks. So yes, it is going to be a very, very heavy Mutalisk strategy, and the heavy Mutalisk, however, is going to have to go head-to-head up against a number of Thors. The Thors have the level 1 research upgrades. Siege tanks are now being trained, and I believe as soon as those Mutalisks are going to be exposed, we should see even more Thors being trained. There you go, another Thor now being trained. Mutalisks looking to deal some damage, and there is not much here that can attack air besides this 1 Thor. That 1 Thor, if it does get magic box, will... Oh, no, not going to get magic box. That Thor trying to move out, and now multiple missile turrets being placed down. So Sixjax now going into multiple missile turrets. Anti-air missile turrets are very effective, especially if you get the armor plating and the +1 range. A range of 8 on a missile turret compared to the range of 3 on a Mutalisk. You can perhaps take down 2 to 3 Mutalisks with a couple 2 to 3 Mutalisks before even they get within combat range. 1 Thor already in position, getting 1 round of javelin missiles, and now gonna try to fire again. No, not going to. And I believe Sixjax should try to get the level 2 weapons upgrade on those units. And now in come the Hellions. In come those Zerglings. Hellions able to fend them off. And now with another command center upgrading to a planetary fortress, Idra needs to take down these rocks and establish up a 4th base. You can already see that the hatchery is now down. Mutalisk simply flying in to try to get some damage over here, but there is 1 Thor, and the Thor able to get a lot of attack, a lot of damage. Idra with 16 Mutalisks in the air, training up 4 more, so that is going to continue to help him. 20 Mutalisks now in the air, so it's for a total of 23. 1 full control group of Mutalisks coming in very, very shortly. Those Mutalisks, however, do not want to stack up. If they stack up, they are going to get ripped apart by Thors. Level 2 weapons upgrade on those Thors. Now those Thors going to be able to essentially dual shot any Mutalisk out of the sky. And now as more and more Thors are being trained, Sixjax is getting a very, very large army, and also has a fight now coming in. So Zerglings now coming in from that far side. Mutalisk now coming in as well. Mutalisk not even bothering the magic box on top of those units, and now going after the 2nd Thor as well. That 2nd Thor will get taken down. There are multiple missile turrets in this location though, and now Idra essentially just threw away his entire army. I did not think that he had enough to try to engage in this particular situation. You can see that the Mutalisks are now trying to just splash some damage onto that missile turret. Not going to be effective at all. Production-wise, though, Zerglings and Mutalisks once again being retrained. Idra with 1-0 upgrades on those Mutalisks going to be able to snipe down that Marauder pretty easily. But the standing army of Sixjax at 5,250 versus 2,550, it is not looking good for Sixjax at all. But Sixjax does not have that many high hit point units. There is currently no medevac in play, so all of those Marauders and Marines are made to simply get taken down. There are currently 2 Thors, and now just using that magic box technique, and now we also have a couple siege tanks in position. I believe Marauders and Marines. Down goes this last Thor. No, the Thor now being repaired by multiple SCVs. Now will get taken down. And with so many Mutalisks in the air, all of these siege tanks are going to get cleaned up. Marauders and Marines are trying to engage. Sorry, the Marauders and Hellions going to simply try to engage, take down this hatchery. The hatchery may go down, but this is going to be a trading of armies as these siege tanks are going to get taken down, and this is going to be very bad for sixjax. Sixjax no longer has that army advantage that I was talking about just moments ago, as Idra now just dominating the skies with about, what, 20 Mutalisks. So 20 Mutalisks just continuing to own the skies. 21 now. Hellions looking to deal even more damage. Not going to be able to do that much damage at all. But at least sixjax was able to shut down that gold expansion. Idra now expanding to the 3 o'clock location, as sixjax just really losing sight. He did not trade his army very effectively, and now in come a group of Mutalisks, and Mutalisks almost gotten taken down by 2 of those stores. Those stores with 2-0 upgrades may be able to take down multiple Mutalisks once again. Mutalisks deciding to back off. And now we are going into an infestation pit. So infestation pit perhaps for some neural parasite, mind controlling a Thor. If he's able to mind control a Thor, that pretty much shuts it down. And then a mind control Thor is essentially a dead Thor in the hands of an expert Zerg player. As soon as that Thor and that timer is about done, the Thor does get, the Thor will then just get attacked by the Zerg units, and the Thor won't even have a backbone enough to fight back. Engineering bay and supply depot on this backside will just get cleaned up, and yeah, and Idra just trying to make sixjax pay for trading those armies that early. 3850 versus 3050 now, and Idra now in the dominant position. There are a lot of missile turrets around, but those missile turrets, as I said, are stationary, and they're not going to be able to do too much against such a highly mobile Mutalisk task force. Now 5 Thors moving in though, so 5 Thors, even though Thors do move very, very slowly, with those Javelin missile launcher upgrades, we'll be able to get a lot of damage in. Mutalisk trying to come back in, but those Thors may get a round of Javelin missiles, and now splashing across multiple, getting more kills there. And wow, Idra losing about 2 to 3 Mutalisks, suffering terrible, terrible damage on the backside of the rest of those as well. Production-wise, we are now going into Hive Tech, so Ultralisks may be coming in. Ultralisks are pretty effective as long as your opponent, as long as those Ultralisks are in the open. Double engineering bay is now being placed down, so a double engineering bay perhaps for some more missile turrets and perhaps even some weapons upgrade on those infantry. But we have very, very heavy mech coming in from sixjax. Sixjax with those siege tanks, in such a nice tightly packed group. Ultralisks will have a very difficult time even trying to get within range, especially as there is no creep to give additional movement speed bonus. Roaches now over here, a lot of spine crawlers as well. Those spine crawlers can be able to deal a lot of damage as those Mutalisks going straight into that missile turret. Down it goes, and now the Mutalisks are just going to hover around over here. A round of Javelin missiles back into those Mutalisks once again, and the Mutalisks trying to live to fight another day. Is there enough missile turrets here? Yeah, we are going to get 4 or 5 missile turrets in just a second, but in come the Roaches. Roach is going to simply swarm in and around that Thor. It is going to get taken down very easily as those Mutalisks trying to come back in. Another Thor on the high ground, and wow, mass siege tanks decimating that Roach army right there. So upgraded siege tanks dealing 60 damage per attack. Hellions coming back in. Hellions finally having that blue flame research and may be able to torch off even more drones. More drones now getting killed. There's a large group of drones over there, and 5 drones now down. The drone barbecue by those Hellions, and now Idra once again trying to repower drone back up, now sitting at 56 drones. We are going into Greater Spire, so Broodlords and Ultralisks will be coming in. And wow, with Idra sitting on such a large economy of gas, as long as he's able to mine this gas efficiently, he should be able to do that with essentially no problem. Another hatchery being placed down here in order to get more gas off of these extractors. Mutalisks now being everywhere they want to be, taking down both missile turrets, and now trying to start splashing. And wow, this poor missile turret over here just taking damage off of that tech lab chain. And now another factory will get shut down, but in comes his main army siege tank sieging up. Roaches trying to run for their lives will be able to escape. And now with the Greater Spire up, it is just a matter of time before we have those Broodlords. The Zerg ground carapace upgrades are now coming underway. This major army coming in from sixjax now. Almost an 8,000 mineral army, 4,000 gas army on the move, and gonna simply just attack, move into this position here. This one spine crawler doesn't stand a chance against, what, 12 Thors. 12 Thors just simply attack, moving 3-0 upgrades, dealing, what, 78 damage per attack. That is a very, very large amount of damage in order and by those Thors, and Thors attack relatively quickly as well. Hellions getting in more drone barbecues and Zerglings, and you can see just a burn animation all across this expansion here. Idra now behind in Harvesters, significantly 38 compared to 47 perhaps. Sixjax also lost a couple as well. Siege tanks, and now Thors making their way to the 3 o'clock expansion, and this expansion's days are numbered. Idra laughing, I guess he finds this game funny now, but in come the Broodlords. Broodlords now coming in, getting some damage across multiple siege tanks. In come the Mutalisk. Mutalisk are trying to magic box on top of the side over here. Is it going to be able to get enough damage? Are the Thors even trying to shoot down the Mutalisk? I do not believe so. I believe they're trying to take down the Broodlings, and now this army by Idra now completely coming back, completely taking Sixjax off guard, and there's the GG. Wow, and Idra is just Idra. I guess this is the Idra shock, completely shocked at and wondering how this happened, how he was able to take this game. Broodlords. With that 1-0 upgrades, in addition to a bunch of Broodlings on the ground. The Broodlings had 2 armor, didn't really matter. But that last fight, I need to rewind that. That was just an amazing turn of events in that fight. If you take a look at the fight right now, or take a look at the army sizes, 4,000s versus 6,100. Mutalisk, Mutalisk going to be able to shut down this factory, but this major attack force coming in from Sixjax, it's composed of what, 5 siege tanks and 12 Thors. The Thors are also fully weapons upgraded, so those Thors should have been able to just simply demolish this pack of Mutalisks. 2 Thors able to shut down 1 Mutalisk per round of attack, in addition to that splash. 7,300 versus 4,500, almost 100%. About what, 75% army size difference, and also Sixjax almost nearing the maximum food cap. We now have 5-6 Broodlords being morphed in though, and Mutalisk just wandering around. This expansion gonna get taken down. The Thor is just moving around, able to shut this down over here, and now you can see these Blue Flame Hellions are going to be able to clean up multiple drones. Yeah, that drone barbecue and multiple drones just taken down. I'm trying to figure out when exactly this army fight has completely changed. 36, or yeah, once again, I'm getting those Broodlords back. So 6,000, 6,350 versus 7,000 right now. So right now, Idra has the largest possible army I've seen at this stage, and now in comes this fight. Missile turrets being placed down, Sixjax deciding to move into this location here, and you would think 12 Thors with these siege tanks would be able to fight this back, but in come those Broodlords, and the Broodlords start splashing down over here, and now in come those Thors. The Thors not shooting at the Mutalisk. Are they shooting at the Mutalisk? I can't really tell. The Thors are shooting at the Zerglings, not dealing with the Mutalisk. The Idra's and Mutalisk are now magic boxed and completely catching the Terran player out of position. And as those siege tanks unsiege, the Roaches came in, and then the Roaches were able to finish off that fight there. So from a 6,500 mineral army down to 3,500, and then for Sixjax, a 7,000 mineral army down to 1,000. So a complete change of events, and there's the GG. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. A crazy game of Terran versus Zerg here in the Xel'Naga Caverns.